Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be checking out a new soldering iron. This is by Sequre. It is the sq-001. It's a mini portable style soldering iron. It's been out for a little while now, and I'm just getting around to reviewing it and looking over. So let's open it up and see what they all give you inside. Okay, so it looks like, let's put this up to the side over here. Okay, so it looks like we have here our iron, as well as the tips. The tips come in a couple different variations. I just got the B2 tip. It's just a normal fine point tip. It works really well for everything that I usually use for drone related purposes. Let's see here. Looks like they give you a power cable, which that's really nice. I know that it will take up to 12 to 24 volts. It's a 65 watt iron. It can take up to a 6S battery, as well as DC power, so that's really nice. Let's go ahead and look through. Let's see. Looks like they gave you just a basic little stand with a sponge. However, I have my own stand here we're going to try and use, so we'll set this to the side for now. Okay, let's see. Looks like they got your typical manual with all that information, and then just safety instructions. Okay, we'll set that to the side. Okay, let's try and put this tip on here. So I believe it just goes straight in. Yeah, let's just go straight in. Has a nice snap, and then you need to use this little Allen wrench here. Screw that down tight, make sure it's secure. Well, it feels pretty secure. Okay. Set these tools aside. Looks like they give you some extra screws as well, just in case you end up losing any of those. Okay. So for today, I'm going to be using a 4S battery to power it. I know you can use like I said, up to a 6S. I don't have any handy here currently, so I'm going to plug in here. Okay. Looks like it would work pretty well. Doesn't fit near as nice as a normal, like I have a Weller soldering iron, like a soldering station, and you can see the difference between the two. This is a pretty small iron. It's not necessarily meant to replace your desktop iron, but it looks pretty nice. You can see how that fits a little better, but this still would certainly fit and work how you would need it to. Okay, let's power this thing on. Okay, looks like we got power. So we can scroll through these menus here. Looks like we have the different power sources you can select. 4S, 5S, 6S, or DC power. I guess it will also run on 3S. I was not aware of that. We're using 4S, so we'll go with that. Looks like we have some soldering settings here. This is a boost temperature. It's basically, from what I understand, you hold down the A button and it'll temporarily boost up to that temperature just really quickly for any for any jobs where you need a quick burst of heat. And you can adjust that here by just cycling through, and that'll take you up to your set temperature. Let's see, there's auto start, and I know that one is a feature in which it will just heat the iron right away. We have temp change. This is short, so this is if you do a short press on the A button, it'll just give you the incremental increases on temperature, on how much you're increasing that by. And that you can go up pretty high. There is the temp change long press, and that's again if you long press it, it will go 50, 60. It does it in larger increments, and you can go all the way up to 60, 70, 80, 90. Locking buttons, that's just to lock these while you're soldering. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we have a sleep mode. That's just basic. You can set a sleep temperature for where it drops down when you're done soldering. You have a sleep timeout, how long before it goes into sleep mode. You have shutdown timeout. That's where it will basically shut down all the way if it's unattended for a certain period of time. Motion sensitivity, that's the basic motion of when you set it down and it's not active, how much you move it to it engaging, thinking that there is activity going on. And we'll keep going. We have the user interface. You can set the temperature between Celsius and Fahrenheit. We have the display orientation, so if you're left-handed, you can change the screen to flip it around, or if you're right-handed like me, it's already set up. There's a cooldown blink. That's just it will just blink as it's decreasing in temperature. We have scrolling speed, reverse keys. Then we have advanced options. And here we have a power limit you can set. We have a detailed idle screen, a detailed solder screen, factory reset. You can calibrate the temperature, calibrate input voltage, and a pulse power. And I think pulse power is the intensity of the power itself as you're using it. And that is basically it for the settings. Let's go ahead and fire up the iron. Let's put this in here. I've got a flight controller here. We'll just try and solder a couple pads and just see how that goes. I'm expecting pretty good results. I've used one of these in the past, and it was really great. So let's see here. Okay, get that down here. Okay, so we got our iron. So we'll just click the A button, and you can see here it will start to get to temperature. It gets going pretty quick. The quickest would be with a 6S pack. However, the 4S is pretty dang quick itself. Okay, let's get this in here, clean it off a little bit. Put some fresh solder on there. Okay, that's looking good. Let's try and tune a couple of these pads. Now that goes right on. So right now we're sitting at 350 degrees more or less. Let's flip this over. actually we can focus on these battery pads, and we can just increase if you see here, if I can click this, it'll go up in temperature. So we can go to, and that's with those increments that we made. So we'll heat it up a little bit, and we'll try and do these battery pads here. That goes on really nice. As well with that one. Let's flip it back over. We can focus on some of these other smaller pads here. It does pretty well at small soldered points too. There are finer tips you can use. Let's get a little bit more solder. Yeah, look at those nice shiny joints. Yeah, it goes on real nice. It's just quick and easy. Get in and get out. So we can see here, if we just don't move it at all, it starts a countdown timer, and that's basically when it'll shut off. You can also hold down the B button, and you can see here that the temperature is dropping, and that'll basically drop to the lowest temperature. Basically it'll drop to room temperature before shutting off. So we'll apply a little bit of solder here before we hang that back up, and that's just going to continue to drop. So overall, I'm really impressed with the iron. Those are some really clean joints, nice and shiny. I would definitely go pick one up if you need something for out in the field. This is definitely where this takes the most advantage. However, I could see it being a good desktop soldering iron as well. That gets hot really quick. I think it might be getting hotter than my Weller does in terms of how fast. So yeah, that is my review for the Sequre sq-001 soldering iron. You can go to their website and pick one up there. You can choose the tip and all sorts of good stuff to go along with the soldering iron package. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one.